All right, we put it off long enough.
The best for last.
So this originally was going to be the first game we talked about because we're going to end with the biggest upset in MLS history, which was Red Bull over Columbus. And then Dax
Okay.
McCarty was like, hold on a second. Hold on a second. We're going to change
He said,
that
"I still got
because
some of that Red Bull magic in me."
yeah, he's like, let's go here because you got to calm down here. We were a team who had a 10% chance of even being in the play-in game in 2024, and they have now sent Messi and his Barca retirement home packing. Time to break it down. So we started off by saying that even though Miami is the favorite here, it wasn't going to be an easy walk in the park, right? Atlanta had beaten them before. Messi played the whole game in that game, so they know how to defend him. And that showed in game one. And actually, at the start of game one, you thought, oh, here we go. They scored in 2 minutes. But because of, oh, yeah, that's right, bald boy Brad stepping up and making save after save after save. Unbelievable. Kept it at a 1 goal game. They did get some luck with the post and the crossbar, and it was the Guzan show, no doubt. They did lose that game 2-1, but they showed that they could compete, keep Messi off the board, and score on this suspect back line. Then it determined that Busquets was out of game two, and they had so much less to worry about because that's their ball spraying center back. All that dude does is pick up the ball, switch it, find the right pass, find the right pass, find the right pass, find the right pass. When you take that away, it makes defending so much easier. You take that away when you go in front of 70,000 at the Benz, insanity. You take that away when you go 70,000 in the Benz in front of a 94th minute winner, bedlam. But I mean, the most insane limbs I've ever seen. A really nice bit of interplay from Atlanta United to find the feet of Jean de Silva, who just subbed in 5 minutes prior to the game, prior to the goal. He gets to the top of the box and smashes it past Calendar. The Benz goes nuts. Sirius is headed to game three, where sparks fly as I'm rewatching the shove on Brad Guzan. Absolute criminal behavior.
I know, seriously. How
Yeah,
dare you
well,
touch our king, our
well, it's
bald
not, it's not, it's
king?
not even that. It's doing that without even getting carded. We'll talk about it in a second. So,
I know.
Miami, yeah, Miami get off to the hot start. They pummel Atlanta's goal. Rojas scored off of a rebound from another great save by Guzan on newly named Fraudiel Messi. That's what we're going with. One goal contribution in 3 games against 40-year-old Brad Guzan. Could not be my goat. Could not be my goat. Over the next 4 minutes, Atlanta would add two from a TRA brace. So from the 17th minute to the 21st minute, it went from 0-0 to 2-1. Insanity. And it just showed how exposed Miami was leaving their back line. They just were pressing. They thought they were going to smother them, but they forgot that it was Brad Guzan and Dax McCarty that they were trying to break down, which was never going to end well. Again, they went into the break 2-1. They were riding high, and you knew that Miami was going to come at them really, really intensely. That's the word I want to use. Intensely. As they're sending wave after wave of attack on the Brad Guzan goal, Messi is finally able to do something in this series, and he scored the equalizer in the 65th minute. This is then followed by Leo Campagna decking Guzan into the goal, and then Suarez getting up in Guzan's face, pretending like he's done something in this series. A scrum breaks out, and the referee does absolutely nothing because it's Miami, and you simply cannot. Again, Don, don't do it. Don't you dare. I'm watching you. I'm watching you.
I may be in Orlando, but don't do it.
We have these things called cameras. We're watching.
I'm close enough. I will fly over there.
Atlanta stayed strong defensively, found themselves a chance to break. The ball was on the right side of the field and was being prepared to be sent into the box. And it was at this point, Miami center back Thomas Aviles decided to just take a seat in the
He got
box.
taken out by the snipers.
He's like, I need a nap. I nap right here. I nap right here. He sits down in the box. I think he was expecting the attack to be stopped because he was kind of like holding his face, so maybe he was trying to do like a head injury thing. There was nothing that could have been a head injury, so the referee said play on, and it gets switched all the way across to one of the best signings in this summer window, and that is Pedro Amador. My goodness, this dude is a baller. He delivers an inch perfect ball to the late arriving Bartosz Slisz, and he powers his header past Calendar to give Atlanta the lead. They would defend for their lives and rely on multiple Brad Guzan heroic saves to win the game and complete the biggest upset in MLS history, and one, quite frankly, I don't think will ever be beaten unless we've got a team of Holland, Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Odegaard, basically a FIFA Ultimate Team playing for Miami. Your thoughts as your team advances in this? I think I call it the second biggest upset. I mean, it's just a retirement league. It's not like you're playing as like Cucho Hernandez, you know?
You're funny. You're funny. Um, yeah, I mean, you could not have. I think you literally could not have a bigger upset. The literal last team into the playoffs, they were the lowest on the supporter shield to make the playoffs against the team that just set the points record. It has the greatest player of all time on their team, and they won. Insane. And it's not even a one-off game. Like I feel like one-off games you could kind of just chalk up to like, oh, anything can happen in a one-off game. This was a best of three series that Atlanta beat Miami in. Actually insane. Tata Martino, he is in Atlanta through and through. He was an agent for us the entire time. He sold for us to win. But yeah, I mean, I think you sent me a meme today, or at least actually maybe I saw. I can't remember if you
No, I
sent it or
sent
if I
it to
just
you. I
saw it.
sent it to you.
Okay, it was this entire accolades list for Miami, like points record, Leo Messi, like Suarez, all these things, amazing things about how this team is built. And then on the Atlanta side, it was the power of friendship. And that really is what this is, honestly, because you looked at an Atlanta team that was struggling at the start of the year, sold Thiago Almada, sold Georgios Yakimakis, sold Caleb Wiley, and you said, all right, they're packing it in. They're going to just sit on their money. They'll try again next year. They made one move to bring in Moranchuk, and the rest you were like, all right, see what you got out of this team for the rest of this year. Bring in a new head coach to start next year, and you have a lot of money to bring people in. Instead, this team decided, yeah, we're just going to make the playoff playing game. We're going to go to Montreal, beat them, and then we're going to win a best of three series against Leo Messi. Despite all of that, I do feel like there are a lot of good players in this team. Like there is a good core of non-designated players in this team. And also, one thing so I want to say this before I forget. Big shout out to you because you had dogged on Bartosz Slisz in game one. And since that point, he has been much improved. So I thank you very much. I know you're doing this for 2018 rematch in the conference finals, and I look forward to that. But yeah, like we had no business beating this team, but we did. Brad Guzan stepped up big time. He is forever an Atlanta legend at this point. Build the statue. Don't make it look like Dwayne Wade's statue, please. um, but yeah, I mean, it feels really good for Atlanta right now because you're seeing what a team can do while still having room to add in star players into this team. Like imagine this team with two stars. Like give them a Yosef and a Miggy, like in their primes. This team is like a favorite for MLS Cup right now, I would say. Like, all right, maybe that might be a stretch because the defense is still a bit shaky, but it feels really good. It
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
really, really good.
And again and we're going to talk about it in next episode, so make sure you're following us for that. But we're going to talk about who takes over at this point. Do you keep Rob Valentino in there? Do you go and try and find a Jim Curtin? Do you go take Patrick Vieira? I heard Gerhard Struber still looking for work. I mean, but just to put this into perspective, right? First off, that meme you didn't. It was more of a. It was way better than you gave it. Inter Miami had 12 designated player spots, the help of pro referees, the second best player in the world, all of MLS, President Don Garber, and free penalties, and Atlanta had the power of friendship. The gap of points here was 34. 34 points between Inter Miami's record-setting run to the Shield and Atlanta United's 40 points. To put that into perspective, last year, that would be like Luton Town beating Newcastle in a best of three series last year. That's insanity. That's so crazy.
Not to mention that in all three games this series, Atlanta didn't beat Miami in XG once. They got beat XG every time.
Bro, that's a Brad Guzan masterclass. I mean,
and not one game even went to penalties. They won in regular time.
Yep. Yeah, it's very, very impressive. Listen, this is what the playoffs are all about, right? You can complain all about the too many teams get in and it's just a handout, right? But this is what it's about. It's the underdogs taking out the Giants, insane upsets, more opportunity for late game drama, tension, desire to win these big games, and it's a little bit more of a fair shot at beating the big guys. Anyone can win on any given day. You can, like I said, I have no problem if you want to keep arguing the best of three. I don't love it because I think it has a weird feeling in soccer comparative to baseball or NBA or whatever. But man, you can't complain that this wasn't enjoyable. Like you can't be like, oh man, I hated this. This was not fun at all. Because you'd just be straight lying at that point.
Yeah,
This was
100%.
it was a ton of fun. We had some of the biggest upsets in history because we had the extra chances to do it. Now, Jordi Alba complaining about, oh yeah, like we would have won if it was only a one game, like everything else. You would have just win the second game. You guys have the entire power of the World Footballing Organization like in your back pocket, and you can't beat Atlanta United with Rob Valentino in charge. Like,
And
stop complaining.
40-year-old Brad Guzan in goal.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I'm not having any of this.
somebody called the ambulance. He's crying so hard.
Yeah, I'm not dealing with that. So, this is what it's all about. We now have some really, really cool
Wait,
matchups in the next round. Go ahead. Yep.
I don't think we should talk about the Campagna thing a bit more. Because I think you were hinting you were going to come back to it.
I was just talking about like it is so stupid that we have to go through this. Like, it's all on video. And by the way, this isn't just MLS, right? This isn't an MLS thing. Like, it happened in the Premier League too. I watched Erling Haaland chuck a ball at the head of Gabriel in the City Arsenal game and just nothing, right? Like, enough of this garbage, guys. You have VAR, you have the power of review. Hold the thing back, deal with it. Like, it's not the most difficult thing in the world. And then especially like Suarez getting in the face of Guzan after he's scored one goal in 3 games. Like, who do you think you are? Like, and I know who you think you are. You think you're hot shit. You're not. Like, Brad Guzan is your owner. Like, your team's owner is Brad Guzan. I can't believe this.
Brad Guzan is your dad now.
It's just like, it's so stupid. And again, the referee's right there too. Like, he watches the whole thing happen. You've got two ARs who are doing it. You've got an entire video assistant referee group in Albuquerque, I think they were this time. Why Albuquerque? Who cares? And nobody's like, hey, maybe you should take a look at this dude absolutely decking the goalkeeper into the net. Like, do you see the 6'4" guy floundering in the back of the goal? Yeah, it's not because he wanted to celebrate the other team scoring on him. Like, maybe take a look at it. It's just criminal. Like, and yes, this has been happening all season. We're going to talk about this in our next episode about Miami's season, if it can be considered a failure, success, whatever. We're going to talk about this a little bit, but these guys get every ounce, and this is why everybody wanted them to lose. They get every ounce of leeway with the referees, with the league. They've got the sponsors of the league are buying players for them. Like, they get every bit of leeway. It's so nice to see them go out and cry.
Yeah. I can't wait to see how much crying is about to come from this team. I mean, honestly, I don't think it would come from Messi. He doesn't seem like the type to be like crying
Dude,
afterwards.
This dude doesn't care. He's collecting 50 mil a year. He couldn't give the
Yeah, seriously. But I could totally see like Suarez and Alba just absolutely having like just an absolute cry fest out there. I mean, we're already seeing it with Alba, but I could totally see just an absolute cry fest from them, even though you had every opportunity to move on to the next round. And if they had, you wouldn't hear a peep about playoff format.
Well, this is the funny part too, right? Like, how many times are they going to just buy all these superstars, quasi break most of the rules, and still just drop in the first round? Like, the year they snuck into the first round with Matuidi and Higuain and all those guys, they lost in the first round. And then they're like, oh, wait a second, you guys broke rules. You have 5 designated players. Here's a fine. 3 years later, they're doing the same exact thing out in the first round to Atlanta. Like, like, it's not even worth it at this point. Like, just build the roster the right way and like at least save yourself the fines in 2 years. Like, what are we doing?
I feel like the best that they felt was the year that they were just kind of like scraping together all those players without DPs. Like the year they made the playoffs with after all the penalties and stuff hit. That's like the best I feel like this Miami team has looked. I mean, obviously they set the points record, like regular season wise, this is the best they've looked, but like, I don't know. I felt like there was good momentum for that team, and then they said, F it, we're going full Barcelona, which I understand too.
Yeah, like I said, and again, there's so much to dive into here. We'll go into it a little bit in the next episode.